Now, that sets the ball rolling for our conversation tonight. When we say give is actually blessing, joining us tonight is none other than Nora Busibori, who is a budding politician, but also a philanthropist. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Regina.
So what was your driving force to just think that you need to target the needy in society?
Well, first of all, it's my background. You know, having grown in the ghetto, I understand the challenges that our mothers, our fathers, and our sisters face in the ghetto. So therefore, ours is to ease these challenges and offer relief. Yes.
So your upbringing actually has drawn you to philanthropy. Maybe you can let us understand what your foundation actually deals in.
Oh, well, so my background really, my educational background is in cybersecurity. I have a PhD in cybersecurity, a master's in cybersecurity and digital forensics, and a bachelor's in IT. So I've grown within the corporate ladder, but then today I'm just here to concentrate on the foundation, which is the Nora Busibori Foundation. Our foundation is primarily geared towards helping our people improve livelihoods. This is therefore by providing educational, mentorship, and empowerment programs to people living in informal settlements.
Government over the years, and not just now, has been rolling out a series of programs. We have the Wealth Fund that is targeting women and youth for financial, capacity building. We also have the Inua Jamii that is looking at the elderly. From where you sit in as far as you set up a foundation to look at, needs that are tailor-made to those who are, are needed in society, do you think that these particular programs are meeting the objectives?
They are meeting the objectives. Because sometimes, we are in economy that is growing. We are still growing, we are young, and the government cannot be able to take care of everybody. So that means that the gap left has to be filled. And the people who have to fill it, it's us, the people who've grown in the ghetto, the people who understand these challenges. Therefore, if we help and come up with opportunities for the people, the government can be able to understand where to come from, where to start from. So, for example, we have several interventions in the ground, which includes transport relief for people. You realize that most of the people living in settlements that are informal actually make a living from hand to mouth. All right? So therefore, they lack even basic money to use for transport. Okay? So then, the government does not understand these challenges. That is why we're seeing even fuel prices skyrocketing, because the government does not understand the direct impact such things have for the people at the lowest level. So if we come up with these interventions and bring them to the fore, then the government and the leadership is able to see what challenges we are going through and probably join us in creating reliefs for our people.
Looking at some of the programs that your foundation is currently targeting at, you're looking at correcting period poverty. We've seen a lot of legislation that has come up to ensure that, a certain budgetary allocation is assigned to public primary schools as well as secondary schools. It's around 470 million shillings. But this is not enough. In your capacity, what are you doing to actually build capacity within these particular institutions in regard to that matter?
First of all, you understand the whole issue of KBC, which is trying to bridge the educational inequalities. But then, of course, in its infancy, it has a lot of challenges, So, therefore, for us is to provide with the government interventions that can be put in place so that these solutions can be scaled throughout. So challenges like kids not being able to afford materials and resources can be alleviated, But then that cannot be done in this economy. We are suffering, the people are suffering, children are not able to get resources required for this kind of setup.
But then the question is, as you're running a foundation, there's been a lot of talk when you look at foundations, they always rely on external source of funding. Would you tell us the Nora Busibori Foundation, what is your banking? Who is bankrolling, Nora?
Nora Busibori is entirely my own effort. And as I explained earlier, I'm in the corporate world. All right, I'm a cyber security consultant. So most of the projects are CSR based. Okay, so because we understand the challenges our people face, so we did not have to wait for people to come on board and support us. We show them the way. Whoever wants to come to support, they will come to support. But then with whatever small resources we have, we are channeling them to these particular interventions.
Now, as a foundation, what would you term as your main challenge, in meeting your objectives?
Of course, funding, number one, because now most of what we do is coming from our own pockets through the company that I run, the consultancy. But then with time, we'll be able to see if we can partner with other people, with other organizations, to be able now to have a better feel of what needs to be done.
I also understand from your profile is that you're a budding politician. I would ask you a straightforward question. Do you think that the future of politics and governance within the country is female?
The future is female all over.
Okay.
The future is female, and I'm glad that quite a number of young female politicians are coming through. They're showing a solidarity with our people, and they're ready to get into the murky waters of
I like
politics.
that you put it murky waters of politics. As a young person, you fall into the demographic that has over the years been, told you the leaders of tomorrow, but it has never happened that you're the leaders of now. So what are you doing to ensure that, you get into elective politics?
Tomorrow can never come. Our tomorrow is now, That's purely cliche. If you want to change tomorrow, you change today so that you can then eat the benefits thereafter. So I'm urging all the young people all over the country, all over Africa, to come through, get into it. You understand? Because we have to disrupt. The problem with a lot of the older generations is that they want to maintain the status quo. All right? So that means then they have accumulated a lot of primitive wealth, getting now the youth completely off the shadows. So what I'm going to tell people is that let's do it. A step at a time. You don't need anybody, you don't need any support, it just needs the willpower.
Well, would want to be a devil's advocate, and I'd want to play that role at this point. But we say that running a successful political campaign actually requires deep pockets. But we're not here to talk about matters of politics. Maybe in the next few years, we'll be having this conversation again. I want to redirect this conversation back to the issue of philanthropy. You've said that the policies are there, but in as much as they're meeting their objectives, there are a few missing links. If you're given a position right now to actually change matters of social security when it comes to vulnerable people, the youth, persons with disabilities, as well as women, what would you do?
Thank you. First of all, there is huge goodwill from the government. Look, let's take one state department, for example, the State Department for Crop Development. Do you know the agencies under the State Department of Crop Development? We have AFA, Agricultural and Food Authority. Under it, we still have the Kenya Seed Company. We have AFC, Agricultural Finance Corporation. We even have a research institute by the name of KARI, Kenya Agricultural Research Institute. Imagine with all these agencies, with a proper budget, we still have never achieved food security. Don't you think it's a joke? Really? That at this time and age, with the different budgets that we align and to support agriculture, we're still not able to afford food for our people, number one. Number two, with all these agencies in place, we cannot even dry our grains, because of the high moisture content with our climatic conditions. You understand that maize goes bad quickly. We have never come up with a technology that can be able to dry and store this maize. Yet we have tens of agencies under the State Department of Crop Development. So my point is that there is goodwill. There is a budget. Kenya does not lack money. What we lack is the proper expertise and the goodwill from the people who run these offices.
Now, when you're talking about social security, what I'm talking about is we've had projects before. Inua Jamii being one of them, where a stipend was actually, to be delivered to a certain demographic, the old people, to help them go buy, take care of themselves at least for a month. We also have the Uwezo Fund targeting women and children and such. So from where you sit, you have a foundation that is looking at the needs of this particular special people, I would say, in society, the PWDs, the children and such. So if you're given an opportunity to correct this anomaly in regard to the needy people in society, what would be your key priority?
My key priority is definitely accountability and integrity, because we have a lot of interventions for our people. We have a lot of agencies being run so that we support our people socially and economically. But then the entire issue that we are dealing with at this moment is lack of integrity from the leadership, lack of accountability. All right? So then we have to streamline the agencies that support this kind of interventions. We have to bring on board the anti-corruption mechanism to see that all these interventions put in place are actually helping people that are supposed to be helped. Yeah. So my basic approach, first of all, is accountability and integrity, so that we are able to know exactly who we are helping and the beneficiaries actually get to benefit from such interventions.
5 years from now, that's technically going to be 2028. What vision do you have for the, Nora Busibori Foundation?
I would hope that Nora Busibori Foundation is going to grow bigger and be able to sort specific need in the ground. You know, there is a lot of things around urban poverty. I would like that we can end urban poverty. We can end policies that perpetuate urban poverty. We can be able to invigorate the economy so that people can look for spaces and opportunities out of Nairobi. That is the only way that we are going to end this perennial issue of perpetuating urban poverty. So mine is to now come through for our people, come up with a manifesto that revolves around leadership, innovation, and entrepreneurship. And of course, using the digital space to be able to expand to different horizons than depending on the traditional methods of earning.
Talking about traditional methods of earning, they say that if you feed a hungry person today but do not create an avenue for them to generate their own source of money for tomorrow, that exercise is in futility. What do you have to say in regard to that matter?
Of course, it's all over. Religion quotes it very well, that give a person a rod to fish, not the fish itself. So the point is that if we can be able to help our people, if we can create mechanisms for job creation and employment, then our people can now, through their individual efforts, be able to scale themselves and be able to be self-sufficient. But then with the kind of economy that we're in, we are all hopeless, because it's an economy that is not giving. It is an economy that is not feeding its people. So then people now resort to living hopelessly in the ghetto, and not living for anything. Well, the government might have a differing opinion there, where they're saying that the interventions that they have laid on ground are actually bearing fruits. A conversation for another day. So tonight we have been talking about philanthropy and the role that it plays within the society, targeting special persons with special needs. We're talking about persons with disabilities. We're talking about youth and children who find themselves in maybe single parent homes and such, as well as the elderly. And our guest has been none other than a budding politician and definitely a philanthropist in the making, so to speak. That is none other than the founder of the Busibori Foundation, Busibori herself. And lessons learned is that philanthropy should be sustainable for sufficiency. Instead of giving them the fish, kindly give them the fishing rod for sustainability. You've been watching Sunday Express on KBC Channel 1. I'm Regina Manyara. I do invite you to our website to peruse what has been making headlines in the last 12 hours. Have a pleasant evening ahead.